A lot of Nigerians do not know the significance my family has played in shaping Nigeria as it is today. So I'm going to go ahead and share this story. Of course, this is definitely going to cause problems between me and my family, but I don't give a shit. So let's go. Okay, to start off, this is my dad, Yakubu Bako, former governor of Akwa Ibom in Nigeria, and this is his Wikipedia page. So this is my father right here giving a story to a newspaper in Nigeria. Let's go ahead and check that article, shall we? It says, Colonel Yakubu Bako served as the military governor of Akwa Ibom State and under the administration of late General Sani Abacha. In this interview, he spoke about the projects he executed in Bakassi, which former President Olusegun Obasanjo conceded to Cameroon, and how he made efforts to install MKO Abiola as president, what he knows about the alleged coup of Lieutenant General Dia, and other interesting issues. Says here, I was successful in the military. I never missed any promotion. When I returned to Nigeria, I was posted to Lagos to oversee the 19th Battalion during the 1993 crisis. So this is very important because back then, Nigeria, there were coups everywhere, left and right. And if you wanted to do a successful coup in Nigeria, you had to have the guy who was in control of the 19th Mechanized Battalion, which they put my father in. And by the way, the person who put him there was my father's godfather, some guy named Sani Abacha. But let's continue. It says, while we were there, somebody approached me saying we should plan to topple Shonekon and make Abiola president. So yes, while Ernest Shonekon was then interim president of Nigeria, someone approached my dad as if you want to take over power in Nigeria, you need to speak to the guy running 19. He's the first person you need to talk to. So they came to talk to my dad about, putting Abiola as president. And my dad did what he did. He went to go see his godfather. Who is his godfather? Abacha. So he told Abacha about the coup, and Abacha said, you know what? That's a fucking good idea. Let's make this shit happen. Says here, you were a high-ranking military officer, but you made efforts to install a civilian as president. What informed your decision? Why were you trying to join politics? He said, yes, there was too much tension in the land at the time. That was when... So, people that don't know, Nigeria was trying to transition from military to a civilian presidency, and Abiola won the election. After winning, he was denied the election. He was denied the presidency. One of the main reasons he was denied presidency, I believe that's one of the main reasons, is he promised that the first thing he will do when he gets into office is apply for reparations for black Americans. Next question is, as a military officer, you were not afraid to meet with civilians, blah, blah, blah. He said, yeah, not afraid. Says you made efforts to install Abiola as president, but at the end it was Abacha that took over. Don't you think you were being used to achieve someone's personal goals? He said, I won't say both of them used me because Abiola was both sincere when we started. There was sincerity from Abiola's family because they really wanted him to be president. Long story short, the coup was agreed for. They said, let's go ahead and make this shit happen. It worked out perfectly. Everybody was expecting Abacha to give a speech on the radio and make an announcement and say, we've taken over power for Abiola. Instead, he said, we've taken over power and I'm the president. So as part of the guy who took over power is my father's literal godfather. Like his kids, we grew up together. They took us to school every day. Me, Mahmoud Sani, Gumsu, Reki, all the Abachas. We went to school in the same car every day. So that happened, and my dad was rewarded giving governor of Akwa Ibom. They sent him to go take Bakassi from Cameroon, which he did. He took Bakassi back from Cameroon, and after that, he was sent to NECON, which was Nigerian Electoral Commission. Back then, Abacha wanted to become a civilian president, so he put my father in charge of the logistics. He put his boy to make sure everything goes smooth. This part is very important. So he's talking about his life in NECON, right, in the Electoral Commission. He says, I worked there for almost a year. When I got out to the commission, one of the major issues was ballot boxes. So I introduced transparent ballot boxes. The contract was awarded to the person who went to China to bring the first set of ballot boxes. I created an office for myself at the airport in Abuja so that the trailers would come and offload and go for the sensitive materials which we were to print overseas. I told Abacha that since he trusted me, I wanted our security and printing office to print it and let me be responsible for it. So a lot of you don't know this. There was a time during Abacha's last time, there was a time when my dad was basically given the security minting and printing of Nigeria. So when I tell you I grew up really fucking rich, a lot of you would not fucking understand. When my father took over from Bakassi in Akwa Ibom, Nigeria was under sanctions. So all the oil we sold was on the black market. When I tell you guys that you guys who are praying for Israel to come in and destroy, there's no one in my bloodline that will suffer the consequences of your decision. We got so much money, we will run the fuck out of the country and go anywhere. You don't like it, but it's the fucking fact. I have no reason to add this part, but I just did anyways. He's talking about my mom, his Bachama wife. My mom is Bachama. I'm not even this full fucking Hausa guy. I am basically 25% Okanyali, 25% Hausa, and 50% Bachama. So if anything, I am more Bachama than I am Hausa. But yes, my father's family did not like the fact that my father met a Bachama woman and married her. They wanted to ship him a Hausa bride, and they are 100% responsible for my parents' divorce. Like a lot of Nigerian families, he tried. She couldn't do it. After years of harassment from my father's side of the family, she left. But yeah, I just want to add this. My father's side of the family is responsible for my parents' divorce. So yes, my father is responsible for Abiola's coup. Abiola came to him. He was the one that set it up. He was the guy. He was the architect of it. But his boss, Abacha, had to be the face of it. So my dad did everything. Abacha took control. Abacha took power. My father was sent to Bakassi. My dad took Bakassi back from Cameroon, and Obasanjo ended up giving it to Bakassi. By the way, do y'all want to know why my father ended up having fallen out with Abacha? When he was put as NECON, he had one job. During his trip, like state to state, he was supposed to be checking every state to make sure everything was okay. He was supposed to end up while he was in Jos. While he was in Jos, Olusegun Obasanjo was supposed to somehow die. My father refused to do that. He refused to kill Obasanjo on Abacha's behalf, and that's why they had the falling out, which for my dad kind of worked out, because right after Abacha died, the next person who became president was the guy he was supposed to kill. And yeah, my family has played a very significant role in Nigeria, and a lot of you don't know, but I'm just coming here to share it. So when I say the things I say, I have more access than most of you would possibly realize. And growing up, I was that one kid that always wanted to hang around his dad when dad had visitors. Unless he explicitly kicked me out, I'm sitting there, I'm listening to everything they're saying. And he always used to, I was that one son. But anyways, I just wanted to share, man. My family is very pivotal in Nigeria's direction. My dad was responsible for Abacha. Some low-key, he was kind of responsible for Abiola's death, because if he didn't accept that coup thing, it wouldn't have happened. He was also responsible. He's also the reason that Obasanjo ended up becoming president, because he refused to kill him. Now you know.
For sure. Yes. How does it look that you hate Tinubu so much?
No, I don't. See, I don't hate any one of them.
Why do you dislike him?
I hate their politics. I won't deny that. I hate the fact that they are direct opposite of what they've ever promised to be. So you can imagine that this is a Tinubu that we all, during June 12, claimed we want a better country. I didn't meet him I met Abiola. We were more directly involved with the top during June 12, which is Abiola. Even Abiola, I didn't meet more than once. Which you have seen the video from Channels TV. It was an interview that was carried out by the proprietor himself. I was with Nahuru, and they had a meeting inside. It's like I went in to scatter the meeting, because I went into all these politicians that I told him, I said, all these people will betray you. And in an attempt to calm him down and try to give me money, I reject. So when we were leaving,
MK wanted to he silence you.
He had a duffel bag full of cash beside him, and I think that's the way he operated.
So
when we came in, he just student leader, because I don't know who ushered us into their big meeting, but we were the ones who were making all the big gains during June 12 protests. So he said, student leader, and I said to him, I said, Chief, all these people you are seeing.
So the Kingibes, the Anauros, all of them were in the room.
So Anahuru now said, I agree with him. You know, what's this man who now, Zugina, Mbakwe, all of them were there, Jakonde, all of them were there. They were inside his living room is like a stadium. All of them. And I think they had already given them their money, all of them are crushed to their money. So he looked at me and was giving us 800,000 naira.
At the time.
At that time. It's a lot of money. And I said,
this was 92,
1993.
93, yeah.
I said, Chief, we didn't come here for money. He was shocked. He said, nobody has ever rejected money from, just use it for buy fuel, transport. I said, do you know where we're coming from? Like, this money is too much. Even if we are flying a helicopter, I don't think it will cost that much. So we started to leave. And then he stood up and followed me and Nahoro. And we walked out of the place, and John Momo was waiting. That was that interview where I was behind him when I was 22 years old. Yes. So those are the people I know. But to go back to my point, you see them saying, we wanted a better country. But when you look at the antecedents around that time and later, you knew that they were all in bed just looking for power. So it turns out that Tinubu then were involved with the military somehow, with Babangida,
What do you mean?
They were, if you know what they did, they were friends. He had been a senator under the diarchy that Babangida set up. Mm-hmm. So they were all working together. It was just a disagreement over power sharing.
Wouldn't that be contradictory though?
Yeah.
If you say the Tinubus of this world were in bed with the military, they were fighting. He himself and the rest, he was in fact backing, the pro, democracy agitators.
You should know this, and we need education around it. The military at that time had factions. They had that faction of the military that they were working with. They were more on the side of the Babangida people. And they were part of the discipleship of Yaradua Senior, the one who died in, I think, Abakaliki prison. So, but the faction that Abacha belonged to was the one who ran them out of town and suppressed. But if you look at it beyond then, when even Abiola was supposed to be released, they kind of switched gear and they became some of the best friends with Abubakar Abdul-Salami. When Abubakar Abdul-Salami took over power and handed over power to them, do you know where they took him to get an award? Chicago State University. I was one of the people who went and protested against him there, which led Kayode Oladele, who was now in the House of Rep, to serve Abubakar with a lawsuit accusing him of killing Abiola. They eventually settled the lawsuit out of court and paid.
These are allegations that Tinubus of this world were in bed with the military. You don't have evidence.
I do. They can't deny it. I think he said it himself when he met Babangida. I've given you enough circumstantial evidence to know that these things are true. For instance, when I went to Chicago to protest against Abubakar, I saw Ashoba there, and I said, Chief, so all along you people have been in bed with these people. He just told me, he said, Omodenia, you know that you are a small boy now.
Maybe it's a way to also get the military out at the end of the day, because there is a way that you get to the street. Sometimes you get.
No, but I've described their political antecedents to you. It wasn't they had see whatever is happening now. They planned it all along. We had a pure position on how to drive the military out of power. They joined us because there was a fight. They had an issue amongst themselves. And I think in the course of that fight, they maintained that relationship with the military. And because they were not here, you wouldn't know. They all were in exile. We were the ones roughing it out here.
So yes. That's the reason, that's your reason for not liking Bola Tinubu's
when you look at what they're doing now, it makes the military look like nice people.
Oh.
Yes.
You're comparing a democratic,
whatever they're doing now makes,
to a military rule.
Whatever
what makes this government look like a military rule?
No, you look at what they're doing with human rights. You look at what they're doing with freedom of speech. This Tinubu government has implemented suppression of free speech more than the military.
How?
Do you know how many people are pulled out of police stations and prisons because of cybercrime?
And that's Tinubu?
Who appointed the IG? Whose government are we under?
There could be anybody doing all of that.
No, you can't do that if the president doesn't approve.
Do you know what your children are doing right at home at the moment? Can you be held responsible?
I may not be held responsible, but I know where my children are at all times, courtesy of technology.
I'm saying there are a lot of things that could happen under a government that you cannot hold the head of the government directly accountable. Yes, the box stop on the table, but when you blame
I'm glad that you said the box.
Free speech,
Anti-free speech, anti-democratic practices, election rigging, all these issues are ones that you can link directly to him.
That is the reason why you don't like his politics.
I don't like their politics. There's no question about it.
You see, I feel highly entertained by Tinubu's rhetorics, the way he's dramatizing his own role, in Nigerian democracy. Luckily, we're all alive. He's gone. Luckily, we're all alive. We're all there. We're all, participant in that particular, sphere of political activity. So I was in the middle of it. Tinubu became relevant and noticeable after Abacha took over government. Before then, he was in the Senate, was the secretary of the party. And with all respect to him, you see, he was part of those people who were supporting Babangida's annulment of June 12. He was part of it. His own mother, Haja Mogaji from Lagos, was organizing Lagos marching women to come to Abuja to pledge, support for Babangida. I'm saying this because it's simply history. I mean no harm. Don't mean to embarrass him. But then you see, he was actively handing gloves to Babangida. Now, when Babangida saw the fact that he was having a problem with the party, he went to the National Assembly to address them. One infamous speech was, they are trying to incite you. It is you they are against. Tinubu was there, and IU became very, very firm and straight on the issue of June 12. He called a meeting, then being the only senior elected person in government at that time, as Senate President. He convened a meeting in Edo, in Benin, working there with the governor, where we went there and reaffirmed our commitment to June 12. All right? Babangida was so angry with IU. When he came back, he removed him and put in a better arrow. He put in there so that, so that they can be aligned to Babangida, political kind of machinations. So when Tinubu today, after being a Nigerian president, decided to rewrite history, trying to maybe deconstruct history and then rewrite it, then it is very, very amusing because he was part of the Babangida support of June 12. He was part of it. Now, it was only when Abacha took over government that Tinubu then became our so-called activist of June 12. Not only all those who are talking about June 12 in Edeko, I mean no harm, I mean no disrespect. I'm simply saying what happened during that time. All of them, those who were in Edeko, where were they on June 11? They had no part in June 12. They had no part of June 12 campaign. They are not part of the June 12 activities. What they are never, because most of them are saying they should down look. All of them. Because they know ability they won't work out. So when Abiola won the election, and then after the annulment, they are all very, very passive. But suddenly after Abacha came on board, removing Sonekam, they became activists. They formed Nedeko. Nedeko was opposed to Abacha, was opposed to election formation. Nedeko was something which was formed, to fight Abacha, not to fight democracy, not for fight for June 12. So whatever Tinubu is doing today is simply reconstructing history the way he thinks is going to fit his own political interests. But then obviously he was a major supporter of Babangida. Ask Babangida. Ask him. So when you talk about, honoring June 12, who are those characters? Ebute Ere? Somebody who replaced Ayu for June 12? Who are the others? All of them. So he ran away. We stayed behind. We fought Abacha. I was detained, because of my fight with Abacha. I was detained. Really was detained. So all of us, Adamu Churuma, Bola Ege, Yoche Ayu, and many others, Bagaji, all of them were there. We fought Abacha. We fought him because we were willing to risk our lives. Tinubu ran away. He was not in the country. He only came back after the whole thing was, after the call was very, very clear. So what I'm saying is, all those advocates of June 12, they are more concerned with the bath water rather than the baby. They are more concerned because most of them were at the end of the meal when the product was being processed. They simply picked up the product. The process which produced the product, they are not there. They're not part of it. They only pick the product. And today it's not about the victor, but it's about the victory more than anything else. So we make this kind of distinction. There is difference between the victory and the victor. The Nedeko were more concerned with the victory than the victor. As far as they are concerned, in the bathwater they are trying to use, they are trying to hang on to their own kind of riding on top to reinvent, history in Nigeria. Otherwise, I feel embarrassed for the president for the way he's talking. Honestly, ask anybody. Go ask anybody. We're all there. Ask Ayu, ask Jerigana. They are all there. Ask Langiwa. So, what is happening today in Nigeria is simply something very, very laughable. People, who had no political pedigree, who had no political history, who are not known as freedom fighters, are now at the forefront fighting for Nigerian democracy. It's so laughable.
Good day to our viewers all over the world, and welcome back to Local Journal. While the Bakos are explaining the role their family played in shaping Nigeria's democracy and the June 12th thing, which has to do with late MQ Abiola, Babangida, and late Sani Abacha's government, Shore is also accusing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of being complicit in that whole June 12th thing, that he supported the opposition and was like acting as if he was in support of Nadeko, whose aim and sole aim was a better government and standing against the military oppression and ensuring that Nigeria is properly being run. However, he knew Tinubu was up to something, and he's saying everything he knows about Tinubu today, and the reason why it feels like he hates Tinubu. According to him, he doesn't hate Tinubu, but he hates the fact that Tinubu played a role. From what he's saying in this video, it seems like he's alleging that Tinubu betrayed his own brother, late MQ Abiola, and supported the opposition, which was the IBB camp. And also, the former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, is also making claims to corroborate what Shore has said. So, I don't really know what actually played out and how it all played out then. But we know that June 12th was a day Nigerians will never forget. It's one of the very important days that would have shaped democracy, but people and power that be truncated it, and we are where we are today. Of course, there have been changes in the way the country would have been. We might not have had a very perfect country then. Of course, there will be change. There will be significant changes that will change the lives of Nigeria for better. I feel like they will. However, it was truncated. But today, these people are saying this and telling Nigerians what they know about Tinubu's role in the June 12th election. Kindly drop what you have to say in the comment section on this. And if today is your first time to visit our channel, please kindly like, share, and subscribe to our channel.